What's up, guys?
Yo.
Hey, good evening. Good late evening.
Good morning. What time is it right now?
It's really late, guys. We just got out of watching It Chapter 2.
Yeah.
I did not. Well, some of us, yes.
I did not. I went to a birthday party I had to be at, and for my friend Rosie and Chris. You know that. And but yeah, man, you guys, I'm super excited to talk about it.
Yeah, I'm ready to get into to a review, non-spoiler review, because we have Anthony here so that we don't spoil it, because the constant, voice, his voice will remind us not to spoil it.
Thank you so much. I appreciate that. I can't wait to watch it probably tomorrow and do the spoiler review for everyone.
Yeah, for sure. So keep an eye out for that. But right now we're gonna keep it spoiler review. And we're just to give our thoughts, overall, general thoughts about the whole movie.
So who do you want to go first?
You go for it.
I can go for it.
Yeah,
this is so hard to keep it spoiler free, because that's what I just want to talk about. Is just how about the entire movie, like in its entirety.
Yeah.
But right off the bat, man, I just absolutely loved this movie. I don't think it's spoilerish to say like it wasn't afraid to go there, and within the context of like, okay, Pennywise, whether you read the book or not, or even watching It Chapter 1, right, or It Part 1, or just It, whatever, you see like, okay, he could get a little crazy, he has these weird powers, but man, they went like on a complete acid trip of like his abilities and his reality warping. Man, dude, it was so fun. And again, to try to keep it spoiler free, it was so good. It was overall thoughts was just, it was amazing. I would definitely go see it again, even though I just got out and saw it really late, guys. It's really, really late. And I would definitely go see it again this weekend. That's how much I definitely enjoyed it.
Yeah, man. I definitely, I'm right there with you, man. I enjoyed it. I thought that the overall film flowed really well.
Yeah.
And I wish there was a It Chapter 3 coming soon, but that's not the case. I mean, the way this story really unfolds and wraps up, it's done perfectly. So I enjoyed it, guys. You have to see it. That's our 1 minute review.
Well, it was never supposed to be a 3. I mean, the original back in the 80s, it was only 2. And actually I think I said this last week, it was as long as probably this one. The original one.
Yeah, it was long.
One of the things that I've been like reading about, and a lot of just, people just throwing their reviews, and obviously there's Rotten Tomatoes. Everyone's pretty familiar with Rotten Tomatoes. A lot of people go there to find out exactly if a movie's doing well or not, right? Mm-hmm. And so you got a lot of people reviewing it, mixed reviews, and so you get a consensus of what people are saying out there. And I don't know if for you guys, I
haven't seen any reviews.
For you guys, to how you guys perceived it, but they're saying that one of the things that I've been hearing is they made Pennywise a little less intimidating in this, because he was out in the in the outer parts, or just like in the daytime, which made his character a little less, I guess, scary. In other words, is what I've been hearing, and that's probably one of the reasons why it's not getting like the I guess the respect that it deserves.
So on that note, is there things that did not work for you on the film?
There was definitely so as much, even though we're trying to keep it spoiler free, right, and try to keep it short and simple. But I love the movie. I really, really did, man. I don't get really like freaked out by horror films, but the fact that it can like really like, you're just chilling, but you can feel tensed up. Mm-hmm. And I was like, dude, relax, because it was just so like, dude, what's gonna happen? Like, it definitely engaged you that way. Put it this way, man, it's 2.5 hours, and it didn't feel like it. I got out, I was like, what time is it? Like, it's really this late on a Thursday night.
You said that, huh?
And the pacing was so great. I would say, like, I'll keep it for the spoiler, but there was some parts of it. Obviously, it has its flaws. And so in response to that, though, what didn't work for me was there was a lot of corniness. I felt like I saw some things that were happening. I was like, oh, I could see that happen. Like, I was like, oh yeah, I called it. I knew that was going to happen. Right. So it was like a lot of cliches, like horror cliches.
So predictable.
Just very few things were predictable. But to a response of what you were saying, that people were saying that there was less Pennywise, I thought there was too much. And
no, I'm saying that there was too much. I'm saying that they said that he was too out in the open. I'm saying
there was too much of it.
It was hidden.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. There was too much of him being out in the daylight as well.
Okay, then yeah. I do agree with that. I thought they said that Like okay, I'm sorry, I misunderstood. But yes, there was too much Pennywise. I thought there was way too much Pennywise. Again, there was like parts of it where, where they're searching for things, to keep it spoiler free. But like, that whole ordeal, like it's like he knew what he was going to do, like, during that whole frame, that whole time. And so there was a lot of parts where it seemed like it was predictable, and it was like, oh, okay. But it wasn't, if they were going to do that, right, show them as much as they did, they make it freaky. The beginning, I would say like maybe the first hour, you saw them frequently, but it was like, whoa, what? Like, oh shoot, like, dude, they're really going for it. Like, they're going all out. They're not holding back, dude. Like the gore and the freakiness, they're not holding back. A whole nother level.
They went up to
they really weren't like afraid. They just went for it. They really went all out, guys. Like, if this was really the last movie that they were making, you can tell like they really gave it their all. They went all out. And then it started becoming too much because he started doing more. He started appearing more, but doing less. In a sense, right? To keep it as a
So one of my problems with the film is that it's along the lines the same as what you guys are saying. I just think that they force a lot of things within the story. There's a character that you see from the first movie. He kind of went insane, and that whole story with that dude is kind of unnecessary. I just feel like it leads nowhere. And like, I don't need that. And I think that many times that if we would have removed that aspect of it and made Pennywise more like more, there was like an objective for every single time he shows up, then those critics wouldn't be saying that anymore, because I feel like the movie did go drag a little bit at certain points. And I think it's all about those moments where that one character showed up.
So I mean, the original one, the second one, it dragged for me. That one really dragged, especially.
Wait, there was a part 2 of the original?
Yeah. So there's two films that came out in the 80s. And so the first one, it was in the same basic vein.
I'm 88, so
for sure. I totally get it. I watched it when I was like in the 90s because I was like super scared of that.
I hardly remember that film. Like, I remember a few things here.
But I did watch it because Tim Curry, the clown that played the clown in those films, which he was, honestly, I think he's even scarier than the one we have now. But one of the things I remember about that movie with John Ritter, it was that the movie dragged a lot. There was just a lot of dialogue, and I was wondering if that was the case in this.
The pacing for it, I'm not saying that it was bad, but the pacing actually, like we said, or like he said, it was, we didn't feel the time.
No,
we really
didn't
didn't
feel like 2.5 hours.
There were moments where we're like, oh, okay, come on, dude. Like, I don't really need this.
There was certain story arcs.
Like, you wanted something
like
else.
I wanted something else to replace this kind of filler. There's moments where I'm like, why is this guy in the bathroom with this guy? Like, I don't get it. Like, you know what I mean? It's unnecessary. And you'll see when you guys see it. But like, I just think that the pacing was really done well as a whole. You know, there's moments here and there. It's not perfect, but it's way better than better than the first. Actually,
there's an arc where they kind of need to search for something. And that part, I felt it was necessary, right? We're talking about it. It was necessary. I see that. And I think that it wouldn't have felt so dragged out or felt like longer than it needed to be if that was introduced sooner. So like there were certain parts, like, just certain shots or certain scenes in the movie where it's like, okay, we could have got through that quicker to introduce this part of the arc. And that way it didn't feel like, because it was a smack dab, I feel probably like the second half, second act.
Second act.
And so, it felt like a long second act, but then
it really did.
It did. That whole that arc right there felt like a long
second
time.
act was my least favorite out of all of them. My favorite act was the first act and the last.
The first act is what was getting my hopes up. I was like, yes, this is how we're supposed to see Pennywise. This is how people saw Pennywise in The Exorcist and Freddy Krueger back in the 80s. Like, that was before my time. So by the time I saw it, it was cheesy, it was dated, Yeah. And so like I laughed even at this one. I was like, oh my God, I love it so much. They went there, dude. Like they're really just not pulling back the punches,
Yeah.
And I laughed out of like I guess like joy and just happiness. I'm legit like was freaked. I was like, dude, okay, like for the first one, the scariest part to me of the first movie, the remake, was like when he came out of like the projector and he was just getting all huge. I was like, dude, that was scary, dude. Yeah. So this one totally takes you on a mind freak, dude. This new one,
really, I can't wait.
Whoa, so yeah, dude, it's good, but
I'm excited.
Even though like we have some qualms with like that middle arc, right? Like the second act, like that's how good the pacing still was. That it didn't feel that part. Feel like just that part felt long. But
I may feel differently when I see it again because I am going to watch it again.
Yeah.
So I have this question. So how did everyone, like the kids, translate to their older acting people that were?
Dude, the casting for this movie is amazing, dude. Like they pick even the facial like details of each character.
Not every character.
I'll wait.
Yeah.
Most people though, like
Bill Hader's character, you could see that he didn't really pair them up well.
Sort of, kind of. But even like the chubby kid.
Oh yeah,
like dude, like
there's the same thing.
There's things right here, bro. Like you could totally see them.
Like if he lost weight and grew up, that's him.
And the actors are pretty good.
They're a bunch of unknowns. A bunch of unknowns, except for Hader, and then obviously McAvoy, and then Chastain.
Dude, and McAvoy, oh my gosh,
bro. Was he good?
He there's this one part of him and this other kid, dude. Like this, and that was almost my favorite part of the whole film because McAvoy shows who he is. You know what I mean? Like he's like, you have all these like really good like actors like Jessica Chastain, right? That's her name.
Yeah.
And she's a big A-lister, right?
Right.
But like McAvoy, man, like you can't forget him. You can't because
he's an A-lister too.
I don't know if I would say he's an A-lister. Like I wouldn't say like he could headline a whole movie by himself, but I would say
he did Split. He did by himself.
Yeah, I guess, but name another one.
He played multiple characters.
Another one
that Brad Pitt is A-lister. Wanted, but no, that was Angelina Jolie more.
But he was the protagonist of the movie.
He was.
Yeah.
Anyway,
but yeah, I get
my point is that McAvoy showed his muscles, dude, and like he was just man.
And I was wondering too because their promotion and some of these trailers, you don't really see.
Yeah,
very much of these guys.
Well, it's a horror film, right? So it's like the less you see, the better, in my opinion.
I like it. So. I felt James McAvoy, as much as I love that scene, that was probably like we both really agreed. I was like, that was really good acting right there.
Yeah.
Because you see the passion, like he's trying to like pass on warnings to like people, and he's just like really like you know.
Yeah.
So for me, that was really cool, but I didn't think that his character really portrays like a grown up version of Billy. That's to me because they did so good, like the little details, like the chubby kid, like if he grew up, I was bugging out on that the whole movie. I was like, he really would look like that if he lost weight and grew up. Like there's something, like you'll right see. Here, like the upper cheekbone area and up, like including nose and eyes, everything. Like I was like, oh yeah.
Do you guys feel like there was a time where movies would like do that, but they wouldn't get people that would actually fit their characters, and you'd be like, what the heck, dude? That person doesn't look anything like that. Why didn't they go and actually do their work, their job?
Fact, the flashbacks that they had, it felt a lot more natural because of those details. Like, oh yeah, that's the face that this kid would make,
and you'll be able to identify right away.
I did appreciate that
for most of them.
I think I only saw the first remake like only once, and so I did appreciate like for people like me who like probably might have forgotten a lot, and they really do a good job at like going back and forth, reminding you like this person, this person.
Love that, dude. I love when they do that.
But they did it so seamlessly, dude. Because at first, after a while, I could be like, okay, we get it, we know who this kid is. Like, why are you trying to remind me? But then there's like, I don't know. I can't say
it's just character. It's just making the story rich, so that the ending would be more powerful. I guess maybe
there's more to story to tell, and they go back to when they were kids to tell the stories.
Which expands on
it really does expand the story.
So I had a feeling they were going to do that only because obviously the new kids, or not the new kids, but the kids from the first movie, they all did press junkets and they all were speaking about the movie. So I'm like, okay, well they're already over that part already. So I know they're going to be grown up. So they're going to have to be like reminiscing and going back and kind of like.
I will say this though.
It wasn't a lot though, but
I wanted to say this because it's not a spoiler. But Bill Hader's comedy, his timing in every punchline, every delivery it's like perfectly timed. I almost feel like a lot of the dialogue that included his dialogue in those scenes, they were really like built around like his punchline and everything. It's like a give and take, right? Like a rapper's punchline, a boom, and then like the next person comes. It just really did feel like structured around his comedic timing, and then at the same time too, like I didn't feel though the opposite side of the coin, that because they show so much flashbacks with the kids, right, and other stories, that more stories for us to like to we didn't know that, right, to be introduced to. So I didn't feel like the older group had the same charm as the younger kids. I don't know if it's because they're kids, they're young, they're funny and they're charming, but I definitely felt, especially like, a lot of the important scenes, I was like, the kids, the group as the kids have a little bit more charm on screen. And I thought like better, like chemistry than the adults actually.
That's a good observation.
Yeah. But maybe to counter argue that is because, dang it, I can't say what that was.
To counter that is the third act, which shows they do come together.
But they're going through a lot of crap.
Exactly. They literally come together, and there's like a story crutch in all of this, and why it's so hard for them to come together. And you'll realize what that is, but like in the third act, it all comes together. And I think that's how they wrote it on purpose. I think they wrote that on purpose.
Maybe, yeah. So I could see that, but
going back to the Bill Hader though thing is that a lot of people, if there's been good things about this movie that's been said, obviously the story is gonna go past generations because everybody's gonna go watch it. Although it is projected, I have to say this real quick, it was projected to make about 120 to 150 million. Now they're pushing back and saying that it might be making maybe 85 to 90 million.
One of us called 85. You called 85.
Well, I did 90, I think. Oh, okay. And then you did, I think, 110. Well, you have it written down somewhere.
I think I did 110.
And so, and also, but another thing that's been, that has been said a lot about it has been that Bill Hader is the star of this movie, really. Like, he's the standout of this movie. I don't know if that's true, but they have said that.
Yes.
One of the standouts in my opinion.
One of the standouts. Star, no. But standouts definitely.
Jessica Chastain is a standout, I think.
Yeah. Oh wow, really? Okay.
She does. She does a good for
the chubby kid too. Like
his whole arc was great. Yeah. So your score? How many clowns do you give this? How many balloons do you give this?
There you go. I was gonna say balloons. Man, dude, I have to, as a horror film, as an adult trying to get into horror films and not being scared, I'm gonna say I'd give it probably like I'll give it 5 balloons, man, because I liked how it affected me personally.
That's the maximum you can give, right, to a movie. It's 5 balloons.
5 balloons, yeah.
Oh, really?
I mean, it's probably far from like perfect, but
yeah, no, it's a way
from all these Annabelles and whatever. Like, I don't know any of these other movies, dude. They didn't really
yeah.
So yeah, I give it 5 because I was entertained. I was definitely freaked out, and I was like feeling the intensity. They did a really good job at that.
They did. The tension was done so well,
dude.
The tension was done so well in this film.
Like, I could feel it on that
trailers.
On the trailer with the old lady, man.
Oh, dude.
Oh, yeah.
That freaked me out.
That freaked me out.
Honestly, that's like
I saw it coming, and I
everything else.
Still like it's horrible. Anyway, I would give it a 4.5. I think that the second act was kind of like the thing that didn't really make me really like enjoy the whole film. But overall, like, it's so good. The tension, the actors were so good. They did such a great job. And I love the story. Like, I don't know the full story of it, and like what I can't even remember the movie from the 80s or 90s or whatever. Mm-hmm. And I love the story though, and I love how like weird they got. I love that.
Yeah,
I love how they did that. So
you gave the first 5 in the show. Now, nobody has given a 5 to a movie yet.
And the only reason why I say that, again, because not a lot of like these thrillers or horror movies have really like done it for me. They haven't really like what horror is supposed to do. Sure. But this one did. I was like, oh shoot, dude! Like, just imagine yourself. Yeah. And this time, I don't know why I was able to project myself like if I was in that scenario more than like part 1.
So you guys didn't fall asleep, huh?
No, far at all.
But it
I don't
did
know who's gonna be able to sleep in this.
It did it for me. I appreciate a lot of little things. Like, there's like Pennywise, he doesn't kill every time he appears. That's obvious. But like, he really like messes with you psychologically. Ooh, like, psychological like just drama that he puts people through. Like, I was like, dude, I feel like
James McAvoy's character, bro.
He really gets
dude. I feel so bad for him.
Dude, he plays
so
on his guilt so bad. Like
so bad.
the whole movie, and like just imagine being him. Like, okay, like I'm at fault for my brother dying, and then like Billy. Pennywise, little Georgie dying, and then Pennywise knows that and just totally just like drills and pounds on that. It's like, oh my god, dude! Like I'm like mentally stressed out and exhausted.
All that
for the
arc,
character.
All that arc is awesome.
So because of that, like I have to give that,
4.5, and we shall see.
We'll see. And in our show, you'll be able to hear his.
You guys said that at the exact same time. That was weird.
Really?
We shall see.
Yeah. Anyway, cool, guys. So hopefully you guys go ahead and go see it. I know most of you guys are already thinking about it. I guarantee that you'll have a good time.
Yeah, it's a fun ride, man.
Yeah.
It's not boring.
Yep. So remember, guys, like, subscribe, hit the reminder, the bell notification, and comment. Tell us what you thought about it. No spoilers, though, okay? And check out our spoiler review in the upcoming days. All right? Stay moving minded.
Yo.